Hello and welcome to another edition of Upon Further Review, your weekly podcast. Thank you as well as we were talking about the conference standings before we came on tonight, and we'll get into that later because there's no sense of discussing it right now because it's very, very confusing. But tonight we've got a good show for you, but the biggest thing for tonight is the dominance that Homestead showed Friday night, beating Snyder High School 38-0 in a game that I just thought Snyder just looked completely disinterested from the start of the game to the end of the game, and I'm not sure why that was. Part of it you've got to give Homestead the credit for. That's for sure. But Snyder was never in this ball game from the word go, and it was quite perplexing for me to see Snyder get beat by Homestead that efficiently in the air, on the ground, and then thoroughly dominated by Homestead's defense.
Yeah, it was unusual to say the least. A beatdown of big time proportions for the Snyder Panthers, and what we saw there. I mean, by my count, first time they've ever had the running clock against them. This is the worst loss in conference play that they've ever had. But I think you also have to take a look at who the winner is. I mean, and that's what we have to chalk up. We can't always chalk up to the losers being the losers in this. The winners, the way Homestead came out and played, pedal to the metal from the very beginning, through the air, on the ground, on the defensive side of the ball, the special teams when they needed them, and they come away with the 38-0 victory over Snyder and maintain one of the shares of first place in the SAC with the dominant win that we just never have seen before in that regard against anybody against Snyder in a conference game. And it was a thorough beatdown by the Homestead Spartans to the Snyder Panthers.
Yeah, and like I said, we'll talk a little bit more about that later and talk about the conference races. But the simplest way to say it is there's nothing going to be decided for at least another week and maybe another 3 weeks because everybody have beaten everybody in a lot of ways. But the other big win of the week was Northrop beating Bishop Dwenger. Again, I think most people were trying to say, well, if Homestead got lost to Dwenger and Carroll lost to Dwenger, then probably Northrop's going to lose to Dwenger. Well, that wasn't the case, as Northrop found a way to win on Friday night and put themselves in a little bit of a driving seat heading to Carroll this Friday to take on the Chargers. And lo and behold, now Bishop Dwenger found a loss in their record thus far after playing really good football.
Yeah, absolutely. And what a big win for Northrop, their first win over Bishop Dwenger since 2012. And you have to think about this, Coach. This was a game that in the fourth quarter was 17-6, Dwenger leading the way and trying to close out the game, but those Bruins wouldn't go away. They get the touchdown, then they get a forced fumble recovery in Dwenger territory, and then cash in. And then hold on top of it. I mean, when they scored the go-ahead touchdown, there was something in the neighborhood of half of the quarter left, in the fourth quarter. And so for their defense on top of that to step up and be able to hold Dwenger from getting down the field again, which I think the offense of Dwenger, that's a challenge there too, because you're not seeing the deep play, the big home run plays. So when it becomes the 3 yards in a cloud of dust, which is not really a cloud of dust because it's turf, 3 yards in a big, tackle pile up, it's tick, 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 tick. It benefited Dwenger against Carroll. They were able to run out the clock with that style of offense. Against Northrop, not so much. The Bruins get the big win. And, now we have 6 teams sitting at 3-1 in the conference. All the games count. Northrop, Dwenger, Homestead, Carroll, and Bishop Luers all at 3-1. Luers are the only one in the B division to do that. And everybody has different losses against everybody too. So that's the other aspect of, at this point in the stage, there's not really like a team, the knockout game where you do head to head. I mean, there's some of that, but ultimately too, because so many teams it's just a weird jumble. We have to play these other games to see, and that's what's exciting. We're at week 7, and it's a wide open SAC race.
Well, you got the Battle of the Bishops coming up here this Friday night. That's going to have a lot to say with it, as is Northrop and Snyder playing for the game, as that will be the last time Snyder will be considered the home team at Spooler Stadium, moving into their new facility.
Spooler.
Yeah, into their new facility.
If they get the stadium done, which by all accounts it's on track and all of that.
Right.
But
And then you got Homestead and Carroll. So we've got basically rivalry week is upon us, and all these games this Friday night will have, I guess you could say, first place implications, because each and every one of them is going to have a say-so in who has a chance to be the Summit Athletic Conference championship. And again, Dwenger still has their destiny in their hands, as does Bishop Luers, as does, in some respects, Northrop. And the rest of them are going to have to hope that something happens between here and now, because of the way things are set up to go. Because after this week, Luers finishes up against Wayne I don't mean to simulate that that's it, but they have
Wayne and Carroll.
Wayne at Bishop Luers is next Friday after this Friday night.
Yes.
So, and Homestead's still got to play Northside. So, I mean, there's some big games coming up, including Snyder and Bishop Dwenger. So we've got 2 weeks of really good football.
Well, realistically, there's 3 games left in the regular season, and we can break down these a little bit further in there. But I think ultimately right now, far from decided is the best way to look at it, because we have found that with this new SAC, even after the regular season games go final, I think it was the first year of the SAC, lo and behold, they took an SAC title away from Carroll, as you could say, maybe in some respects, depending on the way you look at it, and just based off of the tiebreakers and all of that. So anyway,
there's some confusion there.
Yeah. But anyway, lots of exciting football to talk about, and so much going on.
Which is the best thing about it.
Yes, and there's lots of games to be played and lots of teams still in it. We talked about Luers being one of those teams that's still in it. You know, you look at what they've been able to do. How about their bounce back really overall? Starting 0-3, now have won 3 straight, all in conference games, all from that B division, all still count. One of them being that big double overtime win over Northside a couple weeks ago. But, the win over Southside and then last Friday, 42-0 win over Concordia. So Luers coach really starting to assert themselves in the conversation, show who they are, show that they're getting things behind them, and they are going to be a tough team. They still have a shot at the SAC, and ultimately, come tournament time, one of the teams to beat, as they've been to the state a couple times in the last couple of years.
Yeah, and I guess call me not surprised, because this is kind of how I've always felt that Coach Lindsey eventually gets a feel for what his team does well, basically on either side of the ball, and they basically skinny things down enough that they can get high productivity out of their kids by doing what they do best. And this is the time of year that he usually has them pretty honed in and starts to riddle off games and points and things of that nature, because remember, they went 10 straight quarters in the first part of the year without scoring. Yeah, there were 10 straight quarters in between, I think, week 2 and week 3 in that regard, that they had not scored a point in that stretch. So, again, not surprised that they're rolling now. But, again, this is the fun part about this type of year with parity coming into the Summit Athletic Conference this year, is that we're playing the last few weeks of the season, where a multitude of games will count as it pertains to who wins the conference championship, where in years past about this time, we pretty much knew who that team was going to be, or another team. It was usually a 2-horse race at this point in time. So this is what you should clamor for when you talk about high school football in the month of October. A lot of games to have a deciding factor.
Absolutely. And one of the big parts of that Lures success, that turnaround, that midseason shift, has been two guys on the defensive side of the ball, two brothers on the defensive side of the ball for Lures. The Taylor brothers, Jaron and Ale, going to join us now here on the Upon Further Review podcast, and we'll bring them in here if we can get them in. And there they are. Can you guys hear us okay?
Yes, what's up?
Hey, how's it going? We got Jaron. So for those watching at home on our video podcast, raise your hand when I say your name. We got Jaron Taylor, and then we got Ale Taylor.
It's Jaron.
Jaron, my apologies. Jaron Taylor, Ale Taylor from Bishop Lures on the defense, and great to have you guys on tonight. First of all, just talk about this season so far. I mean, you guys, 3 wins in a row now, starting to get things clicking. Just from your vantage point, being in that locker room, how things have gone the last couple of weeks for these Bishop Lures nights.
Well, definitely right now, I'd say our heads are definitely getting in the right space of mind after these consecutive wins. And I know, a lot of people was down on us after the first 3 losses, but we just took those losses, we took it on our backs, and we just went 100% every day at practice, and we just kept pushing forward every game.
Sure. The early season losses that you guys had in there with Leo and the Snyder loss 9-0 and the Andrean loss. How did that, you guys were in those games, 14-7 loss, 9-0 loss to Snyder. It wasn't like they were bad losses. They were just losses coming out of that stretch. So where, what the turnaround for you guys, what have you guys been able to kind of hone in on practice the last couple of weeks to keep things rolling?
Well, I'd say defensively, we just been working on what's the best formations and what's the personnel. We've been working on who to fit in each role, and I'd say offensively, we just been working on expanding the playbook, and that's what's helped us gain these 3 wins in the last couple of weeks.
Sure. Talk about your defense. You guys have been together a long time, this entire group, a lot of two-way players on top of it. State runs, you've won a state championship in there, state runner-up. This team, the amount of football they've played together. I mean, just talk about that aspect of it and just that cohesion that you guys got. I think you guys even have a little nickname for the defensive side of the ball. Ale, if you want to take this one, just talk about the defense and really how you guys have grown together over the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's all about, just coming in and practice every day, working hard, getting better every day, making sure we're pushing each other every single day in practice, listening to the coaches, and obviously we got to have a connection with each other, and that's what really sets us apart. It's really a brotherhood on the defensive ball side. Yeah.
Sure. Go ahead, Coach.
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing. You guys' defense probably has been the strength of your ball club for the better part of the year, as we see some of the combined statistics here. And we look at this season from that perspective. What has led to the resurgence of the defense this year? Is it because you guys are a year more experienced, or is it in that regard? Because you guys got a lot of guys returning up front on that defensive line as well.
Yeah. So I would say what's been that big help, and I would say is our experience. We have a lot of seniors, and there's a lot of sophomores that are especially playing on offense, and because we have all of our coaches, most of our seniors have been, we played long seasons, we've been to state, played 15 games. We just able to help our younger guys just develop even more than what they would be, and that's just what's been helping us a lot, I'd say.
Now let's look at the upcoming Battle of the Bishops that is heading into this week, and I guess you could say that's kind of the pinnacle of your season. Everything is eyed towards that, and being that it's a natural rivalry between the two Catholic high schools here in Fort Wayne. What is it, or do you have any memory in the previous ones that you played against that about this rivalry that just kind of stands out to you, and kind of what does it mean for your campus there at Bishop Luers?
Obviously, it means a lot for us to get a win, but Coach Bradley tells us every day that we just need to focus on ourselves and improving us, no matter if it's our rivals or it's a state game or just a normal game. That's the other team may not be as good as us, talented as us, but yeah, so we're just focused on getting better each and every week.
Yeah, do you guys both do you like coming off the edge pretty much? Because we're watching your game against Southside here, and you guys have both been able to create a lot of havoc up there in the interior defensive line. Do you like coming from a stand-up position?
Well, my stand-up position, like I've just practiced both. I like 3-point, 2-point. You just got to get comfortable with it all. So it really doesn't matter to me.
Okay. I thought maybe seeing you stand up there for a little bit, I thought maybe you'd say that it makes it a lot funner from you coming off the edge there. But again, you both are pretty good. Got some confusion here going on, but at the same time, when you get to Thursday night, do you guys do anything special when it comes to this rivalry game there on campus the night prior to the game?
Thursday nights we always have our team dinners every week. So usually just all the parents like come together. We decide like what we're gonna eat, and then that's
so
what happens. And
so
then usually.
Pretty cool. I was just gonna say your team dinners. That's a pretty cool idea to get together.
And then usually as a D line, if we set goals each week as team leaders. We set the goals each week, and if we get those goals, then we just go out to eat as a D line as well.
Okay, pretty good setup to make.
And I gotta ask you guys too. I mean, how much food does it take? I mean, especially at home. I'm looking at you guys, big guys, defensive linemen and defensive linebackers. What's it like at home? The food bill that mom and dad have to take care of each week. I mean, what? Well, that's an important part of it. I mean, on a serious note, the diet, the nutrition side of things for guys your size. It's not just eat as much as you want, right? I mean, what does that look like for you to stay as the week progresses to get ready for a game?
Well, we try to cut off all the pops and sugary stuff. We eat protein. We both do like our steaks, rice. We actually just had some fish just now, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And looking at this, both of you first team All-SAC, first team All-State a year ago. You've combined for 60 tackles and 6 sacks this year. What's the competition like between you guys? I mean, you guys, obviously, you're in it together to have Luers win, but I would think between you two being brothers, playing at the same time on that defense, it fuels that competition to kind of see who can have a better game. Well, what's that like on Friday night, the competitiveness that spills over into being brothers?
Yeah, so, I would say, especially when we get into games, I saw, some games they will scheme, other teams will scheme better towards me, and some games they will scheme better towards Ale. And when that happens, the other brother just needs to go off and pop off. And like I said, the D line, that, it's a team sport. Where one person getting pressured, the other one should be getting back there and getting back there, getting the sack or getting the TFL.
Absolutely. And you guys, we've also seen you big in basketball as well for Ale. Jaron, you're getting, Division I offers. What's next for both of you guys? I mean, obviously, I feel is basketball for you, Ale, more the track you're looking at, or what's the next level look like for both of you? And Ale, we'll start with you on that question.
Really, for me, it's just about finding a program that suits me the best and my needs the best. But I just want to go out there and, get a scholarship, and if that's football or basketball, I mean, I'll be happy with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I've heard interviews where you say basketball is your first love, but I mean, you've come on so big with brother shakes no, but I think there's a lot that you guys, you've been impressive. For you, Jaron, what is it as far as what you want to do? You got the offers coming in now. Obviously, high level college football looks to be around the corner for you.
Yeah, right now it's just kind of hard. And I just got my 12 last Monday. It's just getting hard. It's get hard making decisions. But what I do love about the coaches, they're not pressuring me. Oh, I need you to commit by so and so day. But the hardest thing is for me is when I'm looking about committing, it's just about. It's not just me committing. It's my whole family committing. It's my brother. I know my brother's going to go probably to a different school, but it's him committing. It's my mom. It's my dad. It's my grandma. It's my siblings committing to that school as well.
Yeah, absolutely. How does the high school, being part of the Lures program, Coach Lindsay, Coach Bradley, so many assistants, so many guys through that Lures program over the years, and then you've gone on to have big-time college careers, go on to the NFL. How does that help through this process as you navigate, 12 schools, big-time colleges coming after you, AL2, different people looking at you now in basketball and football? How does being part of that Lures program, how does that help you steer that ship as you navigate through the recruiting process?
Well, definitely just the main thing that, that anybody can do what I've been doing, just listening and hearing from others and just taking all their suggestions. There would be multiple of the Coach Lindsay, Coach Bradley, Coach B, my D-line coach, they'll they'll give me information from, people that went to Ivy League and other schools that have offers from. They'll connect me with them. I'll sometimes get a phone call with them at night, see how their experience was, and have other vast connections with my other siblings. And really the biggest thing is just listening and just networking. If it wasn't for networking, I wouldn't say I wouldn't have any D1 offers, but I felt like I wouldn't have as many as I do right now.
Absolutely.
That's number one. I feel like.
Absolutely. Well, it's been exciting to see you guys play. We are grateful to have you guys on. First time having two brothers on at the same time. So pretty cool. You both are seniors, class of 2026. Big part of the Lures defense. And ultimately, a group that is still in the hunt for the SAC. Obviously, when tournament time comes around, you guys are going to be after another state title. We wish you guys the best, and thank you for coming on tonight here on Upon Further Review.
We appreciate being here.
All right, guys. Good luck.
Right. Jaron and Ale Taylor, the talented brothers on the defensive side of the ball. And Coach, that's fun when you see stuff like that, because there's a lot of families that go through Lures. This is another family that does, getting to see these guys play at the same time and really move the needle on that defense. I mean, Jaron, some of the, conversations about him, I know, Outside the Huddle, I think listed him as the number 2 player in their watch list this summer. So, and Ale not too far behind. I think he was at number 7 on their list. So, talented guys that are working together, and it really shows as Lures gets into the thick of the season.
Yeah, they're part of that defense that has been their strength for, pretty much the season, and will be their strength heading into the postseason as well, because they're going to make it very difficult on teams to not only run the football, but also throw it because the pressure they can get by just rushing 4. So these guys are a big part of that. And as you said there, they've combined for 6 sacks. And that's a huge part of that defense that likes to create chaos. And, when we had them against Snyder, they played Snyder tough. I mean, they forced Snyder to kick 3 field goals that game to basically win it. And a lot of that was because of Lures' defense and how well they played.
Absolutely. Well, talented group indeed, and exciting to talk to them tonight. Great. And some of those offers, by the way, Coach, Princeton, Yale, Cornell, Ivy League schools. He's got Butler in there, Indiana State. Some of the things I've seen on social media, he says he's up to 12 now, is Jaron. So hopefully it all, I think he's got a lot of options out there. And I think Bishop Luers' coaching staff, his family, they're all with him to help him make that decision. And it'll be interesting to see what happens with Ale, too, a big-time basketball player in the SAC. It'll be interesting to see how that all turns out for him, too.
No question. Academics being a big part of it. He's done well there, as Bishop Luers is a school that prepares kids for that next step in their life. And here's a kid that may have an opportunity to get a $100,000 a year education for free that will ultimately set him up for the next 40 years of his life. So those are the type of things for a kid like that. That opportunity in itself, hey, you can't beat it because of what he's been able to do, not only on the field, but in the classroom as well.
Absolutely. Well, good luck to them the rest of the way. Thanks for them joining us, the Taylor brothers. We're up against a break, Coach. We'll take one here on Upon Further Review. When we come back, more talk on the SAC, the NEA, ACAC. We got another interview coming up with Bluffton quarterback Axton Best, one of the best names in all of high school football in our area. He'll be on here momentarily. But right now you're listening to Upon Further Review on 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM. Welcome back to Upon Further Review right here on 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM. Also on YouTube, on Facebook, on X. You can catch clips on our Instagram page. And, of course, the audio version of our podcast, anywhere you get your audio podcast, just download it. And also follow us on social media. Just search Upon Further Review, SAC, and follow us. And if you need help, search for Griff or Doot as well. And we're out there and covering the SAC and all football across Northeast Indiana. And that includes the ACAC, Coach. And boy, what a conference that is heating up to be. Adams Central has kind of been the class of this field and that group for the last couple of years. They're the reigning state champions. A lot of other teams trying to knock them off every year. Heritage tried to do it already. South Adams tried to do it already and failed and couldn't get it done this year. Another team that's really big time is Bluffton. Another 5-0 start for them. This is a fantastic team too, but really this whole conference really strong, and it's really cool to see what this conference is able to do each and every year.
Yeah, I mean, like you said there, Adams Central has kind of been the team that has dominated the conference for some time now, and they've got some really good teams through the years, and they finally got a state title a year ago. But this year, again, it's going to come down to a couple teams, and right now Bluffton is rolling strong. And Adams Central defeated South Adams last Friday night, which was a little bit of surprise. And how bad, I mean, the score was kind of lopsided. I mean, so that one I thought would be a little bit tighter, quite honestly. So it'll be interesting to see how Bluffton lines up against Adams Central coming up here this week, I believe, in their big game. So to basically decide
Bluffton Adams Central's in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Southern Wells, another team. I mean, you don't talk much about them, but here's a team already on 2 wins on the year. 3 years ago, they weren't even playing JV. Heritage has looked very good in the last couple of years with Jeremy Hullinger taking over as the head coach. And so a lot of those teams keep rolling. South Adams, another team that, getting to that regional a year ago, they've really use that momentum to get into this offseason. And what's interesting about this league, Coach, is the quarterback play, because it's not 3 yards in a cloud of dust maybe a little bit for Adams Central with their wishbone offense, but the quarterback play, Axton Best at Bluffton, Titus Lehman at South Adams, Tagulis over at Heritage. I mean, a lot of throwing the ball around, not accustomed to seeing that so much in the ACAC.
No, but it's not something that I would say that those teams have been doing it quite frequently here over the last few years. And Adams Central's been about the only one that's kind of remained in a more traditional offense. But as they say, you gear your offense and defense to what your players can and can't do. And Adams Central's got kids that have been running that offense since they were in Pee Wee football. Yeah. So that's kind of how it all comes to fruition.
Well, and we've talked about the high scoring offenses in the ACAC, and one of those is Bluffton. And we're thrilled now to be joined by our next guest here on Upon Further Review, the quarterback for those Bluffton Tigers, Axton Best, joining us tonight. Axton, thanks so much for joining us here on Upon Further Review.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, first of all, let's start with I've said it, one of the best names you'll find in Northeast Indiana. Is there a story behind the name Axton, Axton, or what is it, just something that mom and dad just heard one day and liked, or what's the deal on that? Is there any story behind that? Kind of throw you off guard, off right off the top here.
No, it's actually a good question. I've asked my dad a few times before. He was the one who came up with the name, but I have a relative, and his name is Braxton, and it was kind of a thing like where my mom was like, oh, and my dad was like, what if we just did Axton? And then mom was like, I actually like that name, and I'm sure all the other names she had, my mom quickly declined, but that one she actually liked. So that's kind of how my name began.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the last name Best, I'm sure a lot of people have fun with that name too. It's not like a name like Kevich where you can't make sentences out of it. But anyway, but you've been exciting to watch, and Bluffton has been too. Being the quarterback for this team, and we talked about throwing the ball around. I think you guys are up over 40 points a game this season on the offensive side. Just talk about this offense and really the team as a whole, the excitement that goes into what you guys are able to do every Friday night and throwing the ball around and finding different guys that you guys have on your roster. Yeah,
I think you already mentioned it before. It's all gearing around the type of players we have and their athletic abilities. And we have an outstanding wide receiver core. We have a really good offensive line that, although they are young, they have had some experience, which in high school, an experienced line is a really good line, I think. That with a really good staff, really good concepts, I think that all is going to blend together, and it's going to make a really good functioning offense.
Yeah. For you as a quarterback, talk about your match. You're only a junior. You were a starting quarterback as a sophomore, which is not necessarily unheard of in some of the smaller schools in the ACAC and all of that. But talk about your growth as a quarterback. What you've worked on, particularly in the last year or so, as you've taken over control of that, the offense to get better as a quarterback.
Yeah. Being young it's really no excuse for me. But the growth that kind of came with last year to this year is just definitely and kind of a no-brainer. There's just the decision making. There is too many interceptions that I threw last year that they were all my fault, and that that just comes with the big games that I wasn't really used to. But the decision making and being more calm in the pocket, not just getting out of there as quick as possible, just trying to use my athleticism. It's just more just letting the play evolve, letting the receivers get open, not being so anxious and making bad decisions. I think that's where my biggest growth has been for sure.
Yeah, Axton, a couple things here that I've seen on some of your stats. Number one, I think you're You talked about interceptions. You've only thrown 2 this year with 14 touchdown passes. So, you seem to make that adjustment from a year ago with what you had just discussed. But one thing I find interesting about your offense is your rushing attack, because between Craig Moore and you, each one has at least 40 some odd carries, 42 for Craig, 41 for Moore, and then you have 48, and you're all over 200 plus yards on the year. How has that been working out, that there's kind of been this equal distribution of rushing the ball this season?
Yeah. Well, first of all, those two are just phenomenal running backs. I mean, their vision, their quickness, they're very well beyond their years, I believe. And sharing the ball between those two is sort of hard because, they'll bust out some crazy plays and you're like, oh, all right, well, now we got to give the next best running back in the conference, so it's kind of, that's sort of a challenge, but we make it work. And those two do a very good job. They work very well together. They were good in practice. It's all competitive in practice. And, a lot of my yards are usually just from getting out of the pocket, using my feet, making decisions if I need to, just kind of stuff like that. But watching Cooper and Kamel, watching those two do their thing is just really cool to see.
Watching some, I think, what would be your highlights from a year ago against Adams Central, which you guys play in a couple weeks. I think you guys have Heritage this week on the docket. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
What are some things are you expecting from Heritage, as they actually played a tough game against Adams Central? I believe the final was something like 7-0, if I'm not mistaken. What do you anticipate from them, Heritage, this coming Friday night?
Heritage always plays a really good game. It doesn't, even if people are saying, oh, they're not as good as last year or this year, blah, 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 they're always going to keep really competitive. And I know that the coaching staff knows that. So the preparation that is going to go into this week is going to be, this is the best Heritage team we've seen playing like ever. That's the mindset, because you can't take a team for granted. And especially not a team like Heritage. All those kids are very well coached. They've got really good kids on their side too. Lucas Weber is a phenomenal tackler, a phenomenal safety. I've been watching. I'm starting my film today for the week's preparation, and just watching him fly down the field and make tackles is something we definitely have to keep accountable for. And even though they had a tough loss to Adams Central and South Adams as well, like I said before, they always keep it competitive. They're not going to let those two losses decide how they play against us. They're going to be very well coached, and but so are we. So we're going to come back at them. We're going to be a good team. We're also going to keep it competitive and hopefully get out of there with a win.
Now, you have that at home? Is that game at home for you guys or on the road?
On the road.
Okay, because now the big one you have at home against Adams Central a week from this Friday night, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Well, I imagine that's going to be a big ticket item in Bluffton come here in a couple of weeks when you get that going as well. But, you're playing some other sports as well. I saw that Dude had some of your baseball statistical data up on the screen there for a little bit. Is that another passion of yours, baseball?
Oh, yeah, actually, it's a good question. My baseball is my passion. That's what I want to do after high school. That's what I'm really working for right now. But the top main goal is just sports after high school. I'm a competitor, so if that means a breakout game in front of a coach and all of a sudden something happens with football, then that's the direction that I'll go. But right now, I'm actually taking all the steps to become a collegiate level baseball player.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at some of your stats, 595 batting average a year ago. I saw somewhere 25 RBI, 2-0 as a pitcher with a 0.00 ERA. That's pretty cool stuff. How does you come from Bluffton, a smaller school. A lot of kids, they play both ways on the football, and not necessarily. You don't play defense at all, do you? They stick you out there on defense?
No, they have not yet, but you never know. We'll see.
That's all right. Keep it that way, right, Coach?
That's right.
Yeah, but no, but you play baseball. I know you played basketball, at least in middle school and things like that. The baseball and football, what if any similarities do you see that help one over the other? I mean, they're seen as quite a different in sport, but
Right,
ultimately, I think there's probably a lot that goes that it's compatible for you as a good baseball player or solid quarterback, football player, especially with the throwing aspect of it. What those two sports bring together to make you a better athlete?
Yeah, when people watch those two sports, it doesn't look like a lot of similarities, but as an athlete who does play both sports, there actually is a lot of things that are in common. Like, for example, I'm a catcher. Everything sort of revolves around the catcher and the pitcher in the game. You're thinking of every possible outcome that might happen of where the ball is going to go, what pitch to throw, what sort of strategy. What sort of weaknesses or not weaknesses does the batter have, and how do we want to throw against him? All that stuff goes into play that some of the fans might not see, and that's the same thing with football. Some of the fans that go to watch the football games, all they're looking at is the football and who has it. But the players, everything is taken into account. The defense, how they're set up, who are their weaknesses, and where should we attack them at? That's it, and all that stuff is very common in both sports, and it's kind of cool to see and be a part of, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. What's it like on Friday nights down in Bluffton? We got the big one with Adam Central in a couple of weeks, but I mean the success this program, a couple sectionals? I don't know if it's 2 in the last 3 years. What's it like on Fridays down in? Is it the Tiger Den? Do they call that, or is that just the basketball?
Sure, yeah, we can call it that.
Tiger, what's Bluffton, the Tiger Den, like on Friday nights when you guys are rolling like this?
Our community shows out. Even when we're not rolling, our community fills the stands. The stands are packed every Friday night at home. There's people all around the fence lining up. And you know what? Something that I think is almost just as cool or even cooler is how we travel. I mean, we have an hour away games, and our visitor stands are usually packed, and some more on the sidelines. I mean,
wow.
Our parents and the people and the peers around us, they love to see Bluffton football, and that has something to do with how we play too. Because when we go out there, we don't want to almost embarrass our parents and our fans like that. We want to come out. They paid. They traveled to come here to watch us, so we're going to try and put on a show and do the best we can for them. But as far as Friday night goes, it's awesome walking out of the locker room and seeing your whole community behind you, and you walking out there to with the refs and the other captains. It's a really cool experience, and I'm very grateful to be a part of it.
Well, absolutely. Well, it's been fun talking to you tonight to learn a little bit more about you. We've been trying to get you on for the past couple of weeks. I know schedules are crazy, but we appreciate you coming on. And we know Bluffton's been exciting to watch. You're exciting to watch. And
thank you very much.
The stats come in, and kudos to your teams too. I think, what is it? AJ is new now. The passing records, reception records, and reception total.
Receiving yards and receptions. He broke those 2 records the other night. It's very cool, very awesome. I'm very proud of him.
You're a big part of that as well, and so it's really cool to see. And I know things are going down really well down there in Bluffton. So, Axton Best, thanks so much for joining us tonight upon further review. Best of luck the rest of the season, and in baseball as well. And I'm sure we'll be talking more about you as the season moves on.
Absolutely. Have a good night, guys.
All right, thanks so much. That was Axton Best, the quarterback for the Bluffton Tigers, and Coach, he really can light up the field and the scoreboard and the stat sheet, and really has got things going. A big part of what Bluffton is doing down there.
Yeah, and they've had some really good teams here of late, and every year they're in a position to potentially challenge for a conference championship, and one of these days, maybe they get over the hump, but ultimately they're going to be a well-prepared team come tournament time.
Yeah, absolutely. Another year of 5-0 for them. Let me just pull up their stats here too. But yeah, 830. Oh, I just clicked off of it. Sorry. 833 yards, I think it was for. I finally found his stats. I was having trouble. 855 through the air on 74.7% completion. He's got 14 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. On the ground, he's rushed for 237 yards and another 5 touchdowns. So that's over 1,000 yards, approaching 1,100 total yardage, and then 19 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. And so he's finding guys all over the field. Straveler, we mentioned, now the record holder. Bustos, another guy that his big name, Trayton Bustos, and Cooper Craig, a junior. And you look, I mean, not completely coached, not completely a senior laden squad either. I mean, Axton only a junior. He's going to be back again next year. I mean, not a young team, but not a senior laden team. This team continues to find success with juniors and sophomores in the mix.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I think is impressive about this year's team is the youthfulness that they have, so that they're going to have a couple chances at being really good, not just the rest of this year, but next year as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So Bluffton off to a great start already this year, sitting at 6-0 overall. So another 6-0 start for the Bluffton Tigers after their big win, 47-14 over Southern Wells. And then they will move on to Heritage in Monroeville on Friday for a big one. Adams Central coming, and then they wrap up the regular season with Blackhawk Christian. Well, we're up against another break here and Upon Further Review. When we come back, we'll talk all of Week 7's games, some big matchups, some big conference implications, conference races, and some big games all across the area. When we come back here on Upon Further Review on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Welcome back to Upon Further Review here on Wednesday night on 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM. And for those of you joining us on all the platforms, we appreciate you joining us tonight. Just got done with Axton Best from Bluffton High School, and tremendous year he's having to date. And the Tigers got a chance. They got a couple tough ones coming up, but we'll wait and see how that all turns out. But we're at that time of the year, dude. Time to start talking the final few weeks of the season here. And right here in the Summit Athletic Conference, we're talking this Friday night is basically rivalry week in the Summit Athletic Conference with Concordia is at Wayne, Bishop Dwenger and Bishop Luers, the battle of the bishops, and the totem pole, north side at south side, which I believe is what the oldest rivalry.
Definitely. Yeah.
Rivalry.
Not oldest rivalry in our area. Not this. I believe because they played a couple times in sectionals. I believe this is the 99th totem pole game.
Yeah, I know it's
the
been
next year
close
will
to
be
100.
So that's going to be a big one next year. But it's big every year too.
Right.
But yeah, 99 this year. Certainly the oldest of the city. One of the oldest rivalries in the state of Indiana for sure.
And then of course we've got Northrop at Snyder, which is at Spooler Stadium, and significance that will be the final home game at Spooler Stadium for the Snyder Panthers. And then Homestead at Carroll, which will be our 1380 The Fan 100.9 FM game of the week on Friday. And there's no bigger game than that one as well because of what significance lies for both of those. Kind of the winner still has hope, and the loser basically starts to get ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, both teams sitting at 3-1 in the conference. The newest SAC rivalry, though, these teams used to play each other in the old Northeast Hoosier Conference. And then, of course, these two teams came into the SAC 10 years ago now. Hard to believe it's been 10 years. Homestead and Carroll joined the SAC. But, yeah, always a big game. And because of the implications this year, not just in this game, but at the same time, all the other games going on in the city. And I don't know if there will be clock, to other game watching. I don't even know if that's even going to be a thing, especially with teams like Homestead and Carroll that, the focus is your business at hand. But ultimately, I mean, just the north end of town alone, there's going to be so many things going on that it's going to be an exciting night. But yeah, this one, our 1380 game of the week, presented by Midwest Box Breaks, and I think Homestead is really found out, with Carter Kennedy at wide receiver and Logan Friedner as quarterback. That has really been their strong combo. Can the Carroll defense counter that? Snyder's defense looked good. That was the best part of Snyder's game the other night, was the defensive side of the ball. But even them, they really struggled to stop Homestead. Homestead's able to move the ball in a couple different ways. So it should be an interesting game here to see where this one heads, because Homestead's been able to put up some big points the last couple of weeks, win or lose. I mean, they did have that loss to Dwenger, but just the way they've been able to score this season, Carroll, it's going to be a challenge for that secondary to slow down that Homestead offense.
Well, two young quarterbacks competing against each other, that will be a rare treat in the Summit City Athletic Conference this week, as both teams do like to put the ball in the air. But I'm going to say right now, Homestead probably has the upper hand in the rushing the football department, as they got it going Friday night and did quite well with that one. So we'll be at that ball game starting at 6:00, Parkview Sports Medicine pregame show. And then, of course, right after that, the Homestead at Carroll game. We'll have all your coverage right on 1380, the Fan 100.9 FM.
Yeah, Shane Bardwell. Don't forget him. I want to throw his name in there. He's become an X factor in that for the Homestead side of things. And we talked about it. Northrop Snyder coach, the last battle of Spooler, because Snyder's getting their stadium. It's been since 1999 sectional semifinal since Northrop has beaten Snyder. Mm-hmm. And after Friday, I mean, this could go either a 3-touchdown win by Northrop or the old-fashioned 49-0 win by Snyder, because they're going to be so mad. I think the first part is probably more what I'm expecting is Northrop finally getting over the hump. But this Northrop team, wow. Are they a handful?
Yeah, I mean, if they continue to play the type of football that they've played all year, then by all practical purposes, that probably spells a little bit of doom for Snyder. But you never count out Snyder, a tradition-rich program. They went to a quarterback change in the second half there at Homestead on Friday night. We'll see if that continues. It seemed to give them somewhat of a spark, but again, they're just a young football team in a lot of ways, and I think that's showing itself more than anything. Yeah,
sophomores a lot across the way. I think the offensive line, what somebody was telling me, Snyder, when you play sophomores at Snyder, that's because they're, quote unquote, so good that you have to play them. I think this year is more along the lines of they have to play some of the younger guys who will ultimately be fine in the end 2 years from now, which, watch Snyder in 2 years. But ultimately, it's not your traditional Snyder team in the sense that they have to rely so much more on some of the younger guys. I mean, just looking at Friday night, 126 yards of offense on 45 plays. That comes down to 2.8 yards per play offensively. 0 for 10 on third down, 0 for 1 on first down. So they couldn't move the ball. We saw that firsthand. I mean, they just struggled to move the ball, but Northrop can light it up again. It's going to challenge that Snyder defense. I think the Snyder defense is way ahead of the offense, so it'll be interesting to see if that Snyder defense can slow Northrop down at all. But the last battle for Spooler, 1971, when they opened that stadium, they've been using it. So this will be the final home game regular season for Snyder at Spooler before they open their new one next season. And then the Battle of the Bishops, coach, a big one every year, playing for the Miter Trophy, the Bishop's hat, out at Lewis Field. 2 teams in first place. This is another first place game. This could be a big one come Friday night.
Yeah, if I had to pick a team, I do think that Dwenger probably has the upper hand, best based on their offense and defense. But this game, you can throw out the records because it's always going to be a hard-fought game between the two schools, a lot of pride involved, and we'll see who plays mistake-free football because that's what it's going to take right now. And we'll see how well Dwenger rebounds from a tough loss a week ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Some other games on the docket real quickly in the NE8. East Noble travels to Columbia City. East Noble looks to keep rolling. Leo heading to Huntington North. That should be a fun one. Huntington North did take the loss to DeKalb a week ago. DeKalb continues to look really good. And then over in the ACAC, we mentioned with Axton Best, they are playing at Heritage, Bluffton is. So that's a big one in the ACAC before the Adams Central Bluffton game in 2 weeks. And over in the NECC, just quick mention there, West Noble and Busco are your conference leaders. They're both undefeated. Busco has Central Noble, and I can't remember off the hand, Garrett. I should have known that. Maybe it is Garrett, West Noble. But anyway, West Noble looking to get their big conference win on Friday night. Oh, Lakeland. They play Lakeland. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So if West Noble and Busco could both wrap up their conference, because those games are only counted in conference or in divisional games.
Right.
So when the big schools and the small schools play, they don't count that. So a lot of exciting action. Busco going for their back-to-back there too. So a lot of exciting action on Friday night. Of course, like we mentioned, we will be out at Carroll High School for the Homestead Carroll matchup in our Midwest Box Breaks 1380 high school football game of the week. And then, of course, the PSM pregame show at 6 o'clock, followed by the action with Coach and Brett Rump on the call. And then the Kester's postgame show powered by Pizza Hut out at the Pine Valley Pizza Hut. Should be a good one Friday night, Coach. We'll be out there with bells on, as they say, and we'll see some first place SAC action. It should be exciting.
Yep, it should be a good game. And last couple of weeks, we've had some good ones, and I think we'll figure out the rest of the year is going to be tight, tough ball games that are going to be played heading into the playoffs. So it's going to be a lot of fun heading into the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're out of time for this week on Upon Further Review. We want to thank the Taylor brothers from Bishop Lures, Jaron and Ale, also Axton Best, the Bluffton quarterback. Thank you all for joining us tonight on Upon Further Review. We will see you Friday out at Carroll and enjoy the games wherever you are this Friday. Until next week on Upon